Well, it's John Black, Super Chemist. I got another video for you. This won't be, well, it's kind of long, but not as long as the last one.
I had spent years writing what became known as the Biden crime bill. The Biden crime bill. The Biden crime bill.
Democrats right now, especially African Americans, have really looked back on the 1994 crime bill not very fondly. Hillary Clinton herself has come out against it, even though her husband signed it into law. Well, the author of that crime bill was Joe Biden.
The Biden crime bill. The Biden crime bill.
Biden's 1994 crime bill, while implementing sweeping gun control, also helped fuel mass incarceration with financial incentives to keep people behind bars.
The Biden crime bill. The Biden crime bill. The Biden crime bill is before us. Calls for the death penalty for 51 offenses. A wag in the newspaper recently wrote that something to the effect that Biden has made it a death penalty offense for everything but jaywalking. The Biden crime bill. Biden crime bill. I like the idea they keep in jail longer. I'm the guy that wrote the bill requiring federal judges to keep people in jail 100% of the time for which they're sentenced, and the notable exceptions only 85%. So I'm all for tougher enforcement. If Haiti just quietly sunk into the Caribbean or rose up 300 feet, it wouldn't matter a whole lot. Is it because blacks are involved in Haiti?
It was old media that got him in trouble. Personal comments he made about another White House hopeful, Senator Barack Obama.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean, nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
I want you to think about this. This is this guy, this Todd Biden is talking. This is around 2006, something like that, 2007, somewhere, I don't know, somewhere around there. Now he says that the whole, the country's been like 240 years old by then. You know what I mean? 240 years of time where black people have lived in this country, and yet he says this is the first black man who is articulate, bright, and clean. He's a clean black man. But he ain't racist. Yeah, there's never been an articulate, clean, intelligent black man until now, until Barack Obama. He's the first one. All the other black people just suck. And ain't none of them been intelligent. Ain't none of them been clean. None of them have been articulate. Okay, that doesn't sound racist to you, really? I don't know. Sounds racist to me.
The Senate. One chapter receiving fresh scrutiny comes from his earliest years in the Senate, when he strongly opposed mandatory school busing. It was designed to achieve integration and a more equitable education. What's less known is how he followed the lead of some of the Senate's most fervent segregationists. In a series of never-before-published letters reviewed by CNN, the strength of Biden's opposition to busing comes into sharper focus. On March 25, 1977, Biden wrote, "My bill strikes at the heart of the injustice of court-ordered busing. It prohibits the federal courts from disrupting our educational system." Biden sought and received support from Mississippi Senator James Eastland, the Democratic chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and a leading symbol of Southern resistance to desegregation. He frequently spoke of blacks as, quote, an inferior race. Eastland and others were partners on several of Biden's anti-busing bills. On June 30th, 1977, Biden wrote, "Dear Mr. Chairman, I want you to know that I very much appreciate your help during this week's committee meeting in attempting to bring my anti-busing legislation to a vote." Then in 1978, Biden again asked Eastland to put his anti-busing bill before the full Senate, writing, "Your participation in floor debate would be welcome."
Well, the fact that he would solicit the support of staunch segregationists, James Eastland as well as Jesse Helms, introducing legislation as opposing busing at that time.
Now to the race for 2020 this morning and new backlash against former Vice President Joe Biden. He's refusing to apologize as he faces growing criticism over comments he made about being able to work with others in Washington, but his examples were segregationist senators 40 years ago.
Apologize for what?
I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations
and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
To coddle the reputations of segregationists, of people who, if they had their way, I would literally not be standing here as a member of the United States Senate, is, I think, it's misinformed and it's wrong.
2020 rival Senator Cory Booker demanding an apology.
Somebody running for president of the United States, somebody running to be the leader of our party, should know that using the word boy in the way he did can cause hurt and pain. Vice President Biden shouldn't need this lesson.
The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I want to ask, what made them do this? They must be taken off the street. Increase the penalties. Increase them. I would put the son of a gun in jail. Put them to death.
From the crack epidemic of the 80s to the crime wave of the 90s to the post-9/11 war on terror, throughout his career, Biden has represented the Democratic Party consensus, shifting his views to fit whatever best serves his own political career. Over his 44 years in the Senate and then as vice president, Biden was a leading architect of today's criminal justice system, which contributed to mass incarceration and the police misconduct that protesters are fighting back against today.
When I wrote the original bill that started this whole process, the so-called Biden crime bill, I didn't call a liberal confab and write it. I didn't call any big society people and write it. I called the cops.
A Democratic president wants 100,000 cops. A Democratic president wants to build 125,000 new prison cells.
That's the secret. That somehow the Republicans tried to make the crime bill tougher. I say, poppycock. They didn't make anything tougher. Found out that this midnight basketball didn't get them together a bunch of jive folks living in their city to do, try to see if they could be Michael Jordan. When they found out, they were keeping schools open. So gangs come off streets instead of out raping my mother, marauding me, robbing the local store. They're in a gymnasium. My daughter will be safer. My wife will be safer. My mother will be safer. And I will be safer. And I will be happy.
The 1994 crime bill drove up the local, state, and federal prison populations, and it tarnished the reputations of Biden and Bill Clinton, who signed it into law.
Hey, Clinton! You didn't want to take pictures of our people here! We're stealing down before you did!
The mass incarceration created by Biden's lock-em-up policies ripped apart vulnerable communities and families for a generation, and the federal funding streams and law enforcement infrastructure it created continue to hinder reform efforts.
I'll do my job and I will take responsibility.
You ashamed of that, Bill?
Not at all.
Well, there was a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a
So
local
that's where the
decision.
federal government must step in.
The
That's why we have the
federal
Voting
government
Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the Equality Act. That's why we need to pass the ERA, because there are moments in history where states fail to preserve the civil rights of all people.
Yes, and by the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
I'm sick of you disrespecting the black community. You are racist.
Well, I think that's the end of the video. Let's, as you can see, I noticed that, they did a Joe Biden famous quote about how you let the black kids into the white schools, you're going to create a racial jungle, you know what I mean? That's just one of many, many. Another one is if you let black kids into the white schools, they're like roaches. You'll never get rid of them. You know, he's got many. You know, that's what kills me. You know, today they'll try to say Joe Biden is racist because he said if you don't vote for me, you're black. That's nothing. That is literally nothing. Okay, compared to all this racist crap that he has said. You know, this man, his mentor, Larry Bird, was a exalted cyclops of the KKK. Okay, while he was in Congress, because Larry Bird was Robert Byrd was a congressman. Best friends, his mentor. Biden eulogized him at his funeral. Said that he basically said that Robert Byrd was more of a father than his own father. He had so much respect for him, and that everything that he did was great, and blah blah blah. Basically, all he did was racist crap. You know what I mean? But he's not. But Joe Biden is not racist. This is what kills me, man. He spent half of his career trying to prevent black people from going to white schools. You know what I mean? Then he makes the 94, 95 Biden crime bill. His whole career has been to destroy the black community. And then all of a sudden, he changes his tune in 2008. But you can see he's racist in it. I'm going to show just a minute clip on the next video, okay? Because we're still going to be on Biden racism. And I'm going to show you how he talks to black people. And everyone that is white or black, and they talk to white and black people, that all the time, they'll understand. Like, I've had white people friends, right? And then some black people come over or whatever, and they act weird. You know what I mean? They'll start, they never called anyone brother in their entire life. All of a sudden, everyone's their brother. Hey, brother, and they start using black type words that they never use ever. I know this white guy for 10 years. He's never done anything to say anything about like any kind of slang that's geared mostly for black people. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, they're using all this black slang. You're like, why are you? There's been many times when I turned to a white guy, a friend of mine. Why are you acting weird because this guy's black? Just act normal. What are you doing? But I want to show you this clip of the next thingy where Biden is talking to children, little 10-year-old, 8-year-old kids, but because they're black, he's talking so weird about how him and Corn Pop, and how he had this run-in with Corn Pop, and how he's not afraid to beat someone up and kill someone or whatever he was saying, because he's tough, and that's how you gotta be. But no politician would ever talk to a little child like that, okay? But they were black. So he starts talking weird, trying to act black and act like ghetto and shit, you know what I mean, or whatever he was trying to do. But you'll see that he proves just with that one clip that he has never had a black friend in his entire life. Never. Because no one would talk. No politician that's running for the presidency would say this to little children, okay? Little black children. Never. I don't care what color they are. No one wants to talk to little kids like this if you're running for the presidency, okay? Which just shows how he has no clue. Even today, he is still so segregated from black people because of his hate and racism that he can't even talk to them like normal. You know what I mean? It always got to be like geared to black people. And it's not even geared towards black people. It's geared towards stereotypical black people. The stereotype that you would have if you're a racist piece of shit like Joe Biden. You know what I mean? But we'll see on the next whatever.